Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, students. How are you today? I'm fine too, thank you. Alhamdulillah. Well, before starting our class today, please lead by prayer. Yusuf, can you help me? Amin. Thank you, Yusuf. Okay, is anyone not here today? Okay, let's check with presence first. Esther is here. Aliza? Ali? Rizka? Siti? Okay, the last one, Yusuf? Okay, thank God. Alhamdulillah, everyone is here today, which means God willing, everyone is healthy. Okay, so I will share screen first. Okay, have you seen the screen that I shared to you? Okay. So today we will talk about ecosystem. First, I will ask you, whose house is the furthest from school? Yusuf? Where is your house, Yusuf? Oh, that's so far. Okay, during the way to school, what you saw, Yusuf? What did you meet on the way to school? Okay, first you meet a rice field. Okay, then you meet river. Wow, even river, you meet that? Okay, and then you meet forest too? Wow, that's so far. Your home from school. Okay, so did you know that what Yusuf saw, we can learn more about our material today. Does anyone know what we are going to discuss? Yes, that's right, the ecosystem. So does anyone know what is an ecosystem mean? Esther, can you please give your opinion? What is ecosystem mean? Okay, ecosystem. Esther said that ecosystem is what is around us. That's very good, Esther. Anyone have another opinion? Okay, so everyone is accept with Esther opinion. So, student, what is ecosystem mean? Ecosystem is a functional unit between living things and their environment in which they are very close relationship and interaction and mutual influence. They are constituent or components of the ecosystem, which consists of living components or uh, I'm sorry, consists of living component and non-living component, or we can also call biotic components and abiotic component. In PPT, in PowerPoint, you can see that I divide into two, biotic and abiotic. The biotic include autotroph, heterotroph, and decomposer. For the abiotic, there are the example is temperature, water, and sunlight. So what is biotic mean? Yes, biotic, which mean life. The biotic component is an ecosystem. In an ecosystem is the living things itself, because the ecosystem will never be formed without living things in it. The existence of living things then forms a food chain in an ecosystem. Some examples of biotic components that exist in the environment around us, among others. The first is autotroph, or producer organism. Autotrophs are called producers because these organisms are able to make their own food. They even make food for other organisms that live in the ecosystem. Producers will then make food by absorbing inorganic compounds and substances, which will be converted into organic compounds through a process known as photosynthesis. So what is example autotroph or producer's organism? The example is the tree, and then the flowers, and a plant, and many more. And then the second is heterotroph or consumers. Heterotroph have different characteristics from the first organism. These heterotrophs obtain food from autotroph or producers and will eat other heterotrophs. So it can be concluded that heterotroph organism are organisms that use organic materials from other organics that are used as a source of energy and food. For example, human and animals. The tree will be further divided based on their food into herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. The third is decomposer or detritivore, which are the last group of biotic components in an ecosystem. Decomposer are organisms that decompose the remains of living things. Mm, their heterotroph or autotroph that have died. In other words, decomposer are organisms that work to change organic material from that organism into inorganic compounds through process called decomposition. So decomposer will occupy important position in food chains on Earth because their final role is the key for the sustainability of the food chains. Some example of decomposer around the environment where we live are algae, and then fungi, and then bacteria, worms, and many more. While the second component in the ecosystem is the abiotic component or non-living thing component. In other words, abiotic components are compounds that consist of non-living things but are around us and influence our survival. Several types of abiotic components, namely temperature, sunlight, water, wind, air, humidity, and many other inanimate objects play a role in the ecosystem. Here are some of them that I give you an example. The first is temperature. Temperature, a biological process that is influenced by change of the temperature. For example, mammals and birds as living things that can regulate their own body temperature. The second is water. Availability of water can affect the distribution of an organism. For example, organism can adapt and survive by utilizing the availability of water in the desert. And the third, I give you example is sunlight. So the intensity and quality of sunlight will affect the process of the photosynthesis because water is able to absorb light so that photosynthesis can occur around the sun surface. Okay, student, can you understand what I explained before? Okay, good. Okay, now that we know that in an ecosystem there are living and non-living components, then we mentioned earlier that an ecosystem is a reciprocal relationship. What is the interaction like? Done by who? Anyone want to try answer? Maybe Alif, would you like to help me to answer as far as you know what kind of interaction occurs in the ecosystem and who did it? Wow, a good example, Alif. So Alif give example about pollination process where when a butterfly takes nectar from a flower, the butterfly also helps in the pollination process from the flower. Well, this is what is called symbiosis mutualism. Yeah. So there are many types of interaction between living and non-living things. One of which Alif gave an example of is mutualism symbiotic. So what does symbiosis mean? Symbiosis itself have meaning. Symbiosis is a relationship that occurs between two organisms. Symbiosis itself is divided into three, namely symbiotic mutualism, symbiotic commensalism, and symbiotic parasitism. The first is mutualism symbiotic that Alif gave example before. So mutualism symbiosis is a mutually beneficial relationship between the individuals involved. For example, between bees and flower. Or Alif give example butterfly and flowers. Butterfly will get nectar from flowers as well as pollination again for flowers. Another example of symbiotic mutualism is the relationship between anemones and clownfish. The clownfish benefits because the anemone's stings will protect it from predators, while the anemone benefits because the clownfish will prey on the invertebrate animals that are its predator. Okay, the second is commensalism. In contrast to mutualism symbiosis, commensalism symbiosis is a relationship that occurs when one individual benefits, but the other is neither harmed or nor benefited. Well, is there such a symbiosis? There are. For example, remora fish and sharks. You can see that is in PowerPoint that I included a picture of sharks and remora fish. Remora fish, right? Fish that are often around the sharks can get food from leftover shark food. Well, the shark itself does not feel harm or benefit from the existence of the remora fish. Furthermore, the last type of the symbiosis is parasitism symbiotic. Parasitism symbiotic is a symbiosis in which one party benefits while the other is harmed. Examples include parasites and their host. Parasites will take nutrient and water directly from the host vessel, while the host is harmed by losing some of the water and nutrient. Other examples are head lice and humans. Please get food in the form of human blood, but humans are harmed because they will feel uncomfortably and itchy. Hopefully, no one feels this one symbiosis, because it's very harm and very annoying. So the second interaction is competition. Hey, who likes to take part in various competition, both at school and outside of school? In an ecosystem, there is also competition. Competition is competition that occurs between two species. Competition itself divided into two, namely intraspecies and interspecies. Well, what's the difference? What the difference then? So intraspecies competition between two of the same species, for example, competition between hippos for a mate. And then while interspecies is a competition between two different species, for example, cheetah and hyenas for the same prey. Remember, intraspecies competition is a competition of the same species. And then the interspecies competition with different species. Don't beat yourself. So like tiger and lion who beat each other to get deer. That's interspecies competition. Okay. The third interaction is predation. Are you familiar with this term? Predation is the interaction between a predator and its prey. Example are like cheetah that preys on deer or a lion that preys on a zebra. In the PowerPoint, you can know that there is a fox and bird. So fox like to eat the bird. There is so that interaction is predation. So from this various interaction, another interaction will be formed, namely the food chains. As the name implies, the interaction will be indeed be like a chain. The food chains is a way for transferring energy from one organism to another at different trophic level through eating and being eaten. In food chain, there are producers, consumers one, consumers two, and consumers three, and the last is the composer or detritive form. The flow in the food chains moves linearly from the producer to the top consumer until the composer. When the top consumer dead, for example, Yusuf has been passed through the rice fields, right? Now, in the fields, there will be various components of the ecosystem and food chain interaction. For example, you can see in the picture that I give you in PowerPoint, there are rice field, rice, and then grasshoppers. And then grasshopper will be eaten by frogs, and frogs will be eaten by snakes, and snakes will be eaten by eagles. And when eagles die, it will be decomposed by the composer. So rice we can call rice with producers or food for other organism because rice produces rice seeds. And then the second is grasshopper, namely as a primary consumers because grasshoppers are animals that eat plants or what are called herbivores. Grasshoppers eat rice for their survival. And then frogs, namely secondary consumers because frogs are other animal eaters or carnivores, and frogs eat grasshopper as their energy source. And then the third is snakes are third consumers because snakes are other animals eater or carnivores, and snakes eat frogs as their energy source. And then the eagle, the top consumers, eagle eats snakes for their survival. The composer whose role is to burst the eagle so that a substance and nutrient can be reabsorbed by the soil and can be absorbed by plant. for the photosynthesis process. Next, food web. What is the difference between a food chain and food web? A food web is a combination of several interconnected food chains. Therefore, it can be said that food webs are much more complex food chains. You can see the web in the picture that I included. Well, the last interaction is the ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramid is a diagram that depicts the arrangement of one trophic level and other based on the amount, biomass, and energy storage capacity in each trophic level. As the name implies, the arrangement is in the form pyramid and the composition is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The composition at the bottom of the pyramid are producers, while those at the top are top consumers. So in the bottom is producer and the top is consumers, top consumers. Okay, there are the material today. Are there any questions regarding the material that you have conveyed? Anyone? Jessica, do you have any question? Okay, it's good if there's no one question, right? I will divide into 3 groups. So one group contains 2 children because we are just 6 students. I will divide Yusuf with Siti, Alif will be with Rizka, Alisa with Esther. Okay. Now, your task is to discuss the video that that I will show. The time is 10 minutes. Okay, you can click the link that I put in this PowerPoint and then discuss what the video about. Okay, the time is up, student. Okay, from the videos that you have watched, does anyone have an opinion? Okay, anyone, please raise your hand and discuss the video with our class. Okay, Elsa, please. With who you discuss the video? With Esther. Okay. Okay. What's the result of your discuss? Okay, very good, Elisa. So Elisa said that in the video, there is an illustration where humans don't respect the balance of the ecosystem because they don't take care of the environment, and from things as small as throwing out garbage, the balance of the ecosystem and its interaction will be disturbed and affected, so that as human who also need nature, we must take care of it. Very good opinion, Elisa and Esther. Thank you. Anyone will be give the result of their discuss? Okay. No one. Okay. Next, together with your group member, I give you the assignment to make poster save the earth, save the environment. Give me, I give you the task of making creative poster related to an invitation to maintain the ecosystem and its interaction. This poster can be made from now on, and its interaction. This poster can be made from now, and if not enough, can be continued at home. After this poster, don't forget to post this poster on Instagram and tag three of your friends and me. Then I will judge and give you some point for your poster and the invitation to save the earth. Okay, do you have any question regarding the test of making poster? Good. So no question. You can start from now. And if there is something you are confused about, you can ask me and ask for help. Okay, I will give you 10 minutes. While you doing your assignment to make the poster, I will talk about why we must save our earth. You know that now ecosystem is not the um, the balance because of human not save the environment. They always put trash and not in the garbage. Then they are not saving the water. They always wash their clothes in water in the river. I mean, that which so harm for the fish in the river. Then it can and throw trash in river can be factors that will be flood everywhere. Okay, I think the time has run out, student. Please continue the poster making test at home. Before I close this class, I want to add just a little material that ecosystem are what we always encounter around us. You are also part of the biotic ecosystem component that will interact with each other, require, and interact with other components. So it's very important for us to maintain the balance and sustainability of the ecosystem, not for any one student, but for us as well. Okay, so don't forget to do your test. Don't forget to study more and uh, invite everyone to save our home, save our earth. Thank you, children, for your participation today. You are so enthusiastic and so more enthusiasm in this class. Next, please study the material about environmental problems so that we can know more about a solution to environmental problems. Hopefully that we learned today is useful. Okay, please, one of you can read a prayer. Maybe Ali, can you help me to read the prayer? Okay. Thank you, Ali. Every small action counts. Let's protect the environment together. From me, if there is any wrong, I'm so sorry. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a nice day, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you.